Greetings, my lovely space birds, and welcome back to Airlocks and Aviaries. On this fine Thursday, we're going to be doing another analysis video. And this time, we're going to be talking about the Good Omens TV show, but not at all in the way you would expect. I'm so excited. Okay, I know what you're all thinking. This is like the gayest show ever, and Airlocks and Aviaries is an expert in that field. I bet she has a lot to say about it. Well, I do have a lot to say about Good Omens, and I'm super excited since the second season has finally been announced. But everything that I want to say and need to say about the LGBT stuff in the show has, well, already been said. This is a rare occasion where the show is so inclusive already that it speaks for itself, literally.
Gay rights.
Our favorite demon and angel were created for any and all of us in the LGBT community. Asexuals, aromantics, transgender individuals, non-binaries, gender fluids, gays, lesbians, pansexuals, and bisexuals alike to relate to and see ourselves in, and I think that's beautiful. What I'm actually going to be talking about today, instead of LGBT stuff, is the wonderful acting in this show. Of course, as everyone knows, David Tennant and Michael Sheen are wonderful actors.
David Tennant is a good actor.
I'm an actor too, in case anyone didn't know. So while I'm of course not anywhere near either of their levels, I've had experience with acting and acting training, and I can dissect their performance. And the way I'm going to do it is by analyzing the swearing scenes. Now, as you all probably have figured out by now, I'm definitely more of a Crowley person than I am like Aziraphale. You know what I mean? You feel me?
I found you!
But the one trait that the angel and I share, that is, of course, aside from bookishness, blonde hair, and bisexuality, is the fact that we don't swear nearly as much as Crowley.
Well, there really is no need for that kind of language.
Crowley has a potty mouth, we all know this.
Great, pustulant, mangled bollocks!
For my money, it was just an ordinary cock-up.
When Queen released Bohemian Rhapsody on Halloween 1975...
This is in contrast, of course, to Aziraphale, who, like me, uses substitute swear words. An interesting point I would like to make about this, however, also the reason I think the acting in this show is so spectacular, is the fact that the actors in real life are the exact polar opposites. David Tennant is the precious cinnamon roll who doesn't use bad language often, and Michael Sheen is the chaotic, sweary one. This is something I would like everybody to keep in mind as we enter the next section, because it makes it so much cooler that David as Crowley managed to spit out swear words like an expert, and especially that Michael as Aziraphale was able to cuss and sound like a beginner. Now, it's time to go over two of my favorite scenes in Good Omens. The scene where Aziraphale is transported to heaven by accident, and the scene where Satan comes to Tadfield Air Base. For starters, let's just watch them. Oh yeah, and from this point forward, there's going to be a couple of F-bombs, so if you aren't okay with that, I suggest you skip the video. Alright, here we go.
Oh.
Fuck! This is personal. We are fucked!
Okay, let's start with Crowley at the airbase. This scene is thoroughly hilarious because it's always fun to see Anthony Janthony Crowley going through it, but it's also relatable, I'd imagine, for people who swear a lot because of how he's swearing here. We can just tell he's an expert at profanities and probably drops the F-bomb on a daily basis. Why? Well, when you say a word often, your mouth kind of gets used to it. Any word. For example, I say high key a lot. When I throw that word around, it falls out of my mouth easily. High key, high key, high key. It gets smushy and easy to say because I've said it so darn much. And then, when I say it with feeling, I pronounce it thoroughly, but confidently, because I know how to say it, and my heart is completely in it. Like this. I high-key want to see that. It's similar to Crowley's F-bomb. Let's see this scene again.
This is personal. We are fucked!
Incredible acting. I recommend you try it. Say a swear word a whole bunch and tell me it doesn't become easier to say. Although, I recommend not doing this in front of a parent or teacher. But it's interesting, because you'll notice that if it's your first time swearing, like Aziraphale, you're going to say it quite differently. Now, we're going to assume that here that it's Zira's first time saying the F word. I don't know if it's true or not. I haven't read the book. We're going off the TV show here, and there's no proof that he's said it before in the series, but I digress. The reason we're assuming it's his first time saying it, though, is because of the way he says it. He's entirely convinced me the first time I watched this that he was a beginner at swearing. Now, people don't swear a lot, like me, can all pinpoint times that we've actually snapped and dropped a dirty word, be it the first time we've cussed or even just a memorable occasion. And we know that when this happens, it's a process, a 3-stage process in fact, and Michael Sheen illustrates this beautifully. It all starts when we get into a bad situation, be it dropping something very heavy on a foot, losing something very important, or in this case, becoming accidentally inconveniently discorporated while being pushed into an angelic circle. This is when the panic hits and the emotions start rising, and we need to verbally get those emotions out because it's better than holding them in. Stage 1 is where we begin to fall back on our automatic, our routine of saying a substitute, because we've been censoring ourselves for so long. So we start to say something like the usual, oh bother, oh dear, or oh no. Here's a zero fail starting with stage 1.
Oh.
Stage 2 is when we stop and reality hits. We realize we've gotten into too bad of a situation just to say, oh goodness gracious me, this is serious. This is when we need to pull out the big guns. This is a chance to finally say out loud what we've been saying inside our head for this entire time. So we move into the wind-up. It only lasts a split second, but we can see that decision in the scene here. Now it's time for stage 3. We've moved past censoring our censor. We've decided that it's a worthy enough situation, and it's time for this beautiful, perfect angel to say a naughty word. Now we're at the execution, and the execution is awkward. Because unlike somebody who's said this word often enough it becomes like breathing to them, we've never actually said this word before. Yes, we've heard it a lot before. We've said it to ourselves in our head hundreds of times, perhaps whispered it to ourselves when nobody was around, but we've never actually used it before, causing the pronunciation to be extremely exact, to the point of being unnatural. We say it with feeling, of course, but along with the anxiety of the situation, there's the overall trepidation of using naughty language, and then combined with the novice pronunciation, this moment in this show is just beautiful. Here it is.
Fuck.
I've never felt more represented, other than the time where Crowley yelled at his plants. But seriously though, this performance is beautiful. Let's watch the whole thing again, knowing what we know about it.
Oh.
Fuck.
Props to Michael Sheen, a truly amazing actor who managed to capture this novice swearing moment wonderfully, even though he is far from being a novice at using bad language words. Whether it was intentional or not, I think it's amazing. But I believe it was intentional. We've seen Mr. Sheen talking about his acting methods before.
Because I decided that early on that Aziraphale just loves Crowley. And that's difficult for him because they're on opposite sides and, you know, he doesn't agree with him on stuff. Yeah. But it does really help as an actor to go, my objective in this scene is to not show you how much I love you. And just gaze longingly at you all the time. That really does help.
Here he confirms that he uses objectives, which is a really good acting method that I use quite a lot, and I've been urged to use by many acting teachers. It's where you decide your reason for doing and saying everything you do, and you keep it in your mind as you're doing it when you're doing a scene. Here, let me just give you an example. Here's an old scene of mine from Twelfth Night. For those of you Shakespeare nerds who want to know, I played Viola. It's the Viola and the Olivia meet scene because I'm a bi disaster. Anyway, here's some of my objectives. There's a lot of to hide because she's hiding her identity that she's a girl. Here's to flatter, to fluster, to try and hide what she is so that Olivia doesn't find out about her. So yeah, a lot of objectives here just to do things. You split it up into a bunch of parts in the scene, and then you say the objectives. So the whole point of this method here is to prevent the actor from playing emotions. Because if you just say, for example, I'm sad in this scene, and then you play sad, well, that's great, I guess, but if you don't know why you're sad, the audience can sense that. Now, it's much more powerful when you write down your objectives, such as, I need to make my scene partner stay. And then when they inevitably don't stay, the sadness just comes naturally, and the audience can see that because you know why. It's a great technique, and I can see it being used in this scene here. Michael Sheen probably decided that the objectives in this scene prior to the swear were to hold back, and then during the swear was to release, or something similar to that. Amazing performances from both of the stars of the show. Thank you so much for making this series believable and relatable for people who have potty mouths and have to swear when faced with minor to major inconveniences, and for people who barely swear, but sometimes we can't take it and just snap. I want to talk about one more thing before we go. Good Omens is about opposites and extremes and contrasts. Heaven and hell, witches and witchfinders, bratty, unpowerful children, and kind, powerful children. There are so many moments in Good Omens where you can find amazing parallels between scenes. like especially the time where Crowley and Aziraphale switch bodies to save each other. These two scenes have parallels as well. In both of these F-bomb scenes, the Celestials are faced with their worst nightmares happening, and both say the F-word to let out the emotions that come with it. Except for Aziraphale, it's him being transported to heaven to face the Almighty suddenly and without warning. For Crowley, it's Satan, the ultimate power of hell, crawling out of the ground and transporting to him suddenly and without warning. Each of them fears where they come from, their authorities, their worlds, their sides more than anything, even the other opposite sides. And I think that's pretty interesting and cool. I really hope that was intentional, because if it was, gosh dang it, Neil Gaiman, you did it again! I really like Good Omens, not only because of the fact that it's very relatable and accepting to the LGBT community and welcoming for everyone else as well, but also because of the wonderful actors who absolutely crushed it at their performances, and all the interesting and thoughtful storytelling and symbolism that's all wrapped up inside of it. What a great show. I can't wait for season 2. So in conclusion to this video,
can I hear a wahoo?
That's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. I know I sure did. I will see you next Thursday. Goodbye!